keep talking about tech, but we keep also returning to the human factor because, well, most probably in most cases, it's not a shortage of tools, it's a shortage of people. And our next speaker, among other responsibilities in her life, is leading the effort to change the question of where do we find the cyber talent into how do we grow them right here in Latvia. She's the author of the idea behind the Cybersecurity Academy KiberACS, in a collaboration between Google and Riga Technical University. Let's welcome back on the stage Miss Ieva Ilves.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And the clicker is right there.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and it's my pleasure to be back on the stage again. Thank you, Baiba, for inviting me, for being also actually my mentor. You and Varis, a long time ago, you trained me, you taught me in the field, and I really am grateful. And therefore, I understand that I'm the last speaker before the more fun part. So the presentation will be really light and easy. Nothing to write, nothing to digest, but more, in a way, a call for you here in the audience who are mostly cybersecurity specialists to be more inclusive, more open-minded, how to grow the new talents, more tolerant to people like me, who doesn't have engineering background, who doesn't study the IT segment, and yet am on this stage speaking about cybersecurity, hopefully with some value added. So this is a brief presentation of what we are trying to do here today in Latvia. In addressing the question about the lacking cybersecurity specialists, we all needed already, so to say, yesterday. A lot has been spoken here about compliance. And of course, sticks and carrots are two tools that drive people's prioritization of so many multitasking that we have to do nowadays every day. This is estimated new scope entities according to European Commission. I'm sure the numbers are very rough. We are just now registering all the entities who will fall with the new regulation came into force this year, and so we will learn exactly what it means. But just to compare, I used some of the industry data, actually the German one. So I was wondering whether Germans have not assessed France correctly, because there's always neighborhood rivalry. But I think in a rough terms, it illustrates how much companies or industry or organizations were under NIS 1 regulation and how big will be a growth with the second version. But not only laws, not only regulation, there are also data. This one is taken out from World Economic Forum that brings together the industries of the globe. And this is their report on future of jobs. If they assess current need or demand of the skills in the market, cybersecurity is number 27. You can open the latest report and check the numbers. When you look at their forecast for next 5 years till 2030, the cybersecurity is in top 3. Actually, in their report is number 2. And it says that it will see 70% increase. So that talent that we needed yesterday, we will most likely need for next 5 years, and that's both to solve the cybersecurity problem, but also that's an opportunity for people. And I think that's how we should be looking at it. In a way, we can just reinforce the fact that a human gap, the talent gap, is also part of our vulnerability, that we don't have sufficiently these people who would work in cybersecurity field. This is a number used from American again, industry ISC2 reports showing the overall. I think it's been roughly 4 to 5 million. I actually did the calculation. Baltic states, if we take all Baltic states' labor force, we actually don't cover. So if all people in Baltic states in the age of working would work in cybersecurity, we would not cover the needs in a globe. But the number obviously is big. And again, sometimes regulations move faster, not maybe bridging the reality, what is needed. So this is not only, so to say, a gap, it's a cliff where we're all falling down, and we have to address the question, where do we find the missing cybersecurity specialists? Now, I had a video. I don't know if it's going to work. I tried to... I tried to bring in some entertainment for the evening, and a little bit connect the CyberEye or KiberACS, the program that we created for training with the famous James Bond movie, who also, in a way, was able to see threats behind visible things, had these superpowers to fight the enemies, and in a way demonstrates the ability to forecast, to have an insight and agility to react and counter those threats. But what we created together, as it was mentioned, with amazing Riga Technical University team, I know that some of you are, at least I saw some of you here, is what we call KiberACS. Cyber in Latvian is Kiber, and ACS a bit for academy, a bit for meaning with CyberEye. And why we did it? So I spent mostly in foreign security policy more than 2 decades. And I've been writing a lot of policy documents, been part of a lot of regulations. But at the end of the day, now I work half-time in Ukraine. And what defends us is people. And it's the same goes also for cybersecurity. We need people who work in the field. It's not that the papers, it's not that the ticket boxes of audits and auditors only will do the job. We need people. And luckily, we have bright minds in Riga Technical University, people who can train. And luckily, we also have Google.org support. And we are building the project. This is the first year we're working on the project. And we are focused, instead of building a degree, we are really focusing on building a talent and build a defender, a person who can learn and start to apply the skills immediately, as we needed them yesterday. And we focus on 2 key elements in this program. We try to sort of slice down of all the functions that cybersecurity requires. We can call them as micro-credentials, but basically we take topics by topics. Some of them are nicely written in NIS2 directive. Some of them we can read from Latvian national legislation, where it transposes the NIS2 directive. And we kind of try to train on bite-sized education. And then we pair that with a practical experience. So in order that the training would not stay only on a level, oh, we raised awareness, people are understanding it better, we actually ask people to go and do the job. And I know that some of you in the audience will be skeptical. These by far are not engineers like myself. They're not going to do complicated things. But then what encouraged me, and Baiba, you were there in Paris, the Cybersecurity Summit this summer, and there was a vice president of CrowdStrike, and he kind of in between lines mentioned the complaint, you know, that our good engineers, you know what they do? They have to file those compliance papers constantly. So in a way, I realized, right, because we have these super well-trained, smart engineers, but then we use them for the jobs that are not necessarily the best investment or their knowledge. So actually, the fact that we can slice those skills is not only pretending that we can cover the cybersecurity gap, but we actually can give an opportunity for people to work at what they are the best and let the engineers do complicated things when people who understand other elements can do that too. That's a brief slide about Google.org. For those of you who don't know, that's a franchise of Google who is only doing charity and support. And in this sense, they're stepping in financial support as charity for addressing the cybersecurity needs. So it's not the company who provides services. It's not that people have to train on Google services. It's actually a company who provides just a financial support. And Latvia is a part of a bigger consortium. We won the grant to run the program for 2 years. And what I'm grateful for industry is that industry is actually open-minded, and industry allows us to experiment. Because no, none of us have a good answer. How can we get that talent that we needed yesterday in the office tomorrow? But what I love about Google's approach, and that's why we applied to the grant, is that it lets us experiment. It lets us experiment, it lets us evaluate what works best and continuously improve. And we have a chance to do that for 2 years. What have we achieved in 1 year and how we have structured? These were 5, so to say, competencies and directions we chose that colleagues in technical university felt would be the best to start with. We have run those 2 tracks. We have also deeper technology. As you can see, architecture and forensics will require already some background knowledge. But we also let people who don't come from technical experience to work, to learn about how do you educate your employees on cyber hygiene? How do you do the simple things? How do you build the governance? What are the requirements of business processes? What are the elements? What is the compliance requiring for that? If you remember NIS2 slide, the scopes that are going to be now increasing. So these are the tracks we are running, and we have fulfilled now 1 year. For those, though, I put emphasis that we really put on the practical. We also bridge that with educational programs for those students who actually choose to use that path, so that they can also get a credit points for those academic records, if needed. But again, a fun fact, these were very heavily advertised both in universities and outside. We have about 1/4 students in those classes. About 75% people are 35 above. Again, those also can be students. Not necessarily. I haven't done that thorough statistics analysis, but it tells you that there is a much bigger interest for people to upskill and reskill than us competing for that small amount of students who are in engineering or IT domain to really take up cybersecurity. This is our first year data from different other statistics. So because of Google.org focus on also supporting more vulnerable groups or groups who are less presented in this field, which is women and also people in regions. So we really put an effort to onboard people who would be interested in the field and would be willing to work in the field, also giving back, for example, speaking of regions, in cybersecurity. So that's currently, we have trained 167. We call them specialists on purpose. And then we bring them to internships. And we put a lot of effort. I'm grateful for Latvian Association of Municipalities who actually stepped forward and engaged. Part of that is because they also fall in scope. They will have to address and be compliant. But part of that is that they are in regions and they need those people. So we have already done rather good cover of people going back to institutions and starting to fix some of the cybersecurity needs. And as you can see, we try to make an offer like a shopping list, right? You can shop for competence from the specialist. And maybe that's one small thing. Maybe it's just the incident reporting mechanism. But that student goes there and he gets that done for your small local municipality. So I think it's a great opportunity, not only to learn in theory and become better aware of what cybersecurity means, but actually apply this sort of new knowledge, apply in practice. Because my goal, experimenting together with Google in this project, is actually really not only build awareness, but really bring that talent to the jobs. And going to jobs, as you all know, sending in CV, the first question is, do you have an experience in the field? You have to start somewhere. And I think this is a great opportunity to start with practical trainings. We actually are having tomorrow a Halloween party with first alumni. And I will be very happy to learn. I met, actually, accidentally today, some of the students came over to me, and I was glad to hear that what we are hoping is that people who are truly interested and start to practice, that they start to express, hey, can I get another credential? Can I build up, I learned this thing, but maybe I can learn another thing. And so eventually, you can build up your knowledge. Maybe you never become this super hard, deep dive engineer, but you will be, I think, quite good and you can quite well advance in cybersecurity. We will run the second round of courses. Those of you who here are from Latvia or online, please follow. We will be announcing the courses are for free. They are limited numbers for people, but they provide opportunity also to work afterwards with scholarship. So in essence, I'm going to sum up. I've been writing about that, some articles and giving talks, that I want to democratize cybersecurity and cybersecurity skills. And I think part of that is coming from my own experience. I always feel uncomfortable in audiences of cybersecurity specialists because I don't come with that background. It's not what I studied originally. But I think if we see all the needs that cybersecurity covers, and we know by now that it's not only technology, it's processes, it's people, then it actually makes sense to embrace much bigger crowd of people. And I think I've seen a lot of people when you say, hey, do you know anything about cybersecurity? Do you want to engage? People already find that word too complicated, that it's not appealing. Oh, it's not for me. I can't understand. This must be super complex. I don't have proper education. So we really need to, I think, democratize that approach and make cybersecurity something that can be more open and engaging for broader public, because we do need more people. And as I said there, I mean, it might not be computer scientists, but these will be people who will understand, who will see, who will know where to turn, and will be able to act quickly. So in a way, let's not admire the problem. Let's see what we can do about that problem. And here in Latvia, with a team of RTU colleagues, we took this approach as a small step, and I hope it will bring added value to cybersecurity community in Latvia, and maybe it will be experience for the EU or Google counterpart universities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ieva. Definitely, your efforts will be fruitful. We actually do have some questions. There's a question how to sign up, but for that you go to KiberACS.lv.
We will be announcing, so Christmas is around the corner, so no new courses this fall, but there will be a new courses that were mentioned on the screen in the spring. So all you have to do is apply. And
then there are two questions which I think are interconnected. Someone from the United States is watching and commenting that they have a problem of students graduating and not enough jobs over there, and they're looking for a fix. Maybe if you have a good idea, but a connected question is, what's the situation in Latvia? Do all the students take up the jobs? I understand we don't have the graduating students yet, but what do you think will be the reality maybe in the near future?
We're going to see alumni tomorrow, and we will see, because it was really just the first batch. And I actually think, I don't want to point out the colleague who was here, who said, well, I'm continuing to work in that field related to the topics. And I think that's already half a step. And what we will also try to do next year, maybe, instead of just taking in people from the side, we will also encourage municipalities, for example, themselves, saying, you have a person in the office who would be good to upskill. That person can apply. That person is already in job. But now he will have the additional capabilities, and he can perform the function that the law will require you as a municipality. So we are willing to sort of test different paths that works the best, because we really want to make sure that people, when they learn, they practice that. Because nothing, from theoretical knowledge, nothing gets solved if you don't apply that.
True. Great moderator and a great presenter. deserves a gift. Thank you, Ieva, for being part.
It's my second pair.
It is?
I'm very well
but you're working hard. You're working hard. A round of applause to Ieva Ilves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ieva.